Hey everybody, welcome back, and we are once again joined by Josh from My Night Coin and Bullion. And Josh, I'm really excited about silver. I mean, precious metals in general this year, but silver specifically, it hit almost $35 an ounce yesterday. Now today we are seeing an expected pullback, but even still, as we record this video, it is still almost $34 an ounce. Josh, are you as excited about silver as I am right now?
I'm excited too. It's honestly, it's in my mind, your mind, a lot of your viewers' minds, it's long overdue. We're finally seeing some excitement around silver. We're finally seeing that spot price go up, honestly, faster than I thought we would. A $2 jump this past Friday, over a $2 jump is huge. I mean, that is a huge, huge jump in one day. And I don't think anybody could have necessarily predicted that. But yeah, there's a lot of excitement, not just for me, but for my customers. Previous and current and new. There's a lot of new people coming in. So it's just nice to see a lot of buzz and excitement around silver right now.
You know, Josh, we did a chat, I think around 10 months ago. I forget what it was. It was right before this year. And I was talking about how I felt really excited about metals in 2024. And keep in mind, I don't have a crystal ball. It very well could have just went down as quickly as it went up this year. I'm not pretending that I made some magical prediction. I knew it was going to happen, but I just had a good feeling, right? And so far, it's that good feeling has really panned out. And like you had said, there's people excited coming in your shop. Well, I'm seeing it in the comments as well. Of course, there's always going to be the naysayers, but a lot of people are really excited about it. I've seen people talk about it in our Discord as well. It pulled back a little bit today, and we're going to talk about it rising really fast as well and what that could mean. But what have people actually been saying, when they come in to buy silver? Like, are they excited to buy it even though it's so high, or are they also a little cautious because it's went up?
Well, a lot of people are coming in and saying, well, it's about damn time.
Yeah.
That we're finally seeing these upward momentum in prices. But on the other hand, there's some people that, honestly, it's those same people and others that have regrets of not buying more earlier. I can say the same thing. You can say the same thing, I'm sure. Yeah, had we known it was going to go up, we would have bought more. But I think overall, outlook is good. I have had customers that have shared some, intimate personal information regarding their own stacks, which I won't repeat here. But, just for, I guess I could because you don't know who they are. But I had one customer come in, for every penny that silver goes up, I make $1.50. So in terms of value of their stack. And I've had others say similar things, oh gosh, since I started buying from you 12 months ago, my stack is up, essentially almost 50%, right? Silver the last 12 months. So there's a lot of people that are customers of mine that are paying attention, that are thrilled that they started buying when they did, but they might have some regrets that they didn't buy more earlier. But there again, hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll share a regret with you, and you already know this because we talked about it before we started recording. But I'm not going to say how much, but I was going to buy some silver on Thursday, and I thought to myself, I'm like, thinking back at it, it usually seems like there's like a dip on Friday. I'm like, well, I'll wait till tomorrow and see if it dips, and if it rises a little bit, I knew it could go up. I'm like, well, if it goes up 20-30 cents, that's going to suck, and it cost me more, but I'm going to wait and see if there's a dip on Friday. And it didn't just rise 30 cents on Friday, Josh. I mean,
up over $2.
$2 jump. I was just, my chin had hit my desk. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what is happening here? And don't get me wrong, guys, like you watching, like, I'm not upset about this happening. I was upset that I didn't pull the trigger on Thursday and waited till Friday. And it kind of goes back into what I'm saying is, Josh, we've talked about this so many times. Don't try and predict this market. That's what I did, and I got burned. I tried to predict the market, and I got burned. It's going to cost me more to order that silver now than it would have if I had just ordered it on Thursday. So,
yeah, I always encourage people, look for a price point, including premium, that you're comfortable with, and pull the trigger. Don't try to guess. Is it going to dip tomorrow? Is it going to go up next week? Who knows? Find a number you're comfortable with and go for it. That's my best advice. But there again, depending on what happens after that, we're either going to be excited we made the decision or have regrets. So in a sense, you can't win, but it's always good to continue to add to the stack if you can.
Absolutely. But what about the cautionary side of this, right? You had talked about how we've talked about twice now, how it jumped $2 an ounce on Friday. That's a pretty significant increase in one day. I mean, Could we be
Yeah.
expecting a correction here, a pullback, or is this the beginning of something? And I'm not asking you to predict. I'm just asking, what do you think could happen? Your feelings, I should say. This is not financial
Okay.
advice.
Yeah. Well, I'll give my feelings and opinion, but yeah, it's only that. You know, for the longest time, we look at precious metals of having resistance levels in terms of price point, spot price. And that's, there's analytic experts that are going to come up with those numbers based on historical charts and whatnot. Well, around 32 to 32.50, $32 and $32.50 per ounce for silver has long been kind of a ceiling, a pretty heavy resistance point. And to your point, once it got above that on Friday, it took off. I mean, it went up another $1.50 or more that day. Were they right? Yeah, from that sense of the matter, they were. Is it going to continue to rise in such an aggressive way? I don't know. It definitely could, but always, always, always in bull markets, like arguably we're in right now for metals, there's always corrections. There's always pullbacks. Could it go down $2 in a day, just like it went up $2 this past Friday? Yeah, 100%. What would cause that? A lot of things, quite honestly. And it's so unpredictable. So there again, it goes back to cautioning people and just reminding them, if you're going to buy silver, if you're going to sell silver, pick a number where you're comfortable and go with it. Don't really have regrets. Don't try to predict and time the market, because you're going to be wrong half the time, maybe
Yeah.
even more,
Yeah.
maybe even more. So I guess that's my advice. But yeah, around that, there's a lot of excitement for the price going up. I have seen an increase of people coming in to sell, but I mean, sell to me, but there are still more customers coming in to buy metal, gold and silver both, than I'm selling right now, or than people are selling to me. So
Okay.
businesses, despite the high prices, yeah.
So that's actually brings up a good point. So you have more people buying from you than selling to you. So you're going to have to start, replenishing via wholesale again.
Yep.
Is that going to have an effect on premiums? I mean, with silver being up as high as it is, having high premiums would probably not make people comfortable right now, which I totally get. Well, what do you think is going to happen there with the premiums going into this?
Well, one thing that's already starting to happen are the major, I'm talking the really large wholesalers, are lowering their buyback prices. Because when you get a meteoric rise like we had on Friday, and then really again on Monday, where it was up $2, then up another dollar. I should say, I think it was Tuesday, it went up almost $1. That's not necessarily a comfort level for where prices are at, because as it rises so quickly, it can also have sharp pullbacks. So from the wholesaler and dealer perspective, we have to protect ourselves against that, because yeah, it's great when the prices are going up, 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 and we can sell our products we have in store for more. But when customers come to sell it back to us, boy, if I pay, $35 an ounce for these silver rounds coming in the door today, what can I sell them for tomorrow? Spot price might be 32. So based on what the big wholesalers are doing, because ultimately if we get inundated with product, I've talked about it before, us dealers either have to find, customers with deep pockets that can act as a wholesaler and buy it from us, or we have to ship it off to a wholesaler. And because of these sharp, quick increases in spot price, the big wholesalers are paying less. That hasn't really had an impact on what I can buy it from them for yet, though.
Gotcha.
So, I'll send them, 1,000 ounces, and they're going to pay me maybe 20 cents less, 30 cents less than they did last week. But I can't buy it for that much less, because, they're taking all the risk by taking in all of that product at these, at these high prices right now. Is silver high right now? Sure. It's at a 12 or 13-year high, something like that, or was before the pullback today. But they take all the risk. So we haven't seen, from my perspective, when I'm ordering from a wholesaler, I have not seen a reduction in premiums. But based on what I just explained, I think it could be coming, because as those buybacks continue to get less and less aggressive, the buyback prices from the wholesalers, and we're paying less from the customers for their silver when they bring it in, ultimately that, to be fair, needs to translate to the retail side too, meaning lower premiums. So we're not there yet, but the dominoes are starting to stack up. Things are falling into place. And then once, everything's aligned, yeah, I think if this continues for a while, these high prices, we don't see any sharp pullbacks, you could definitely see that.
Fair enough. So let me ask you about resistance. You talked about breaking 32, 32.50, and then it skyrocketing, which you did on Friday. Is 35 that next ceiling? Because it's like we were bumping into it yesterday, and it didn't want to cross it. What are your thoughts on $35 an ounce silver, Josh? Is it happening soon, you think?
Well, yeah, arguably it did happen yesterday, depending on what tickers you're looking at. So,
I don't think it happened on Kitco, which I think is what most people, yeah.
You're right. Yeah. And that's the one I use. That's what I was going to say. But I know on a lot of the major bullion sites, and just depending on, what ticker, the news channels that have gold and silver ticker prices. Yeah, it did push over 35. Yeah, it does seem to be a resistance point, not just yesterday, but historically. So that's kind of the next number. After that, I've heard 38. I've also heard 42. You can read articles and listen to talking heads, and they all have different opinions on it. And that's only what it is. It's opinions. It's no guarantee. So I will touch on this. What I've seen, and it's a little disappointing, but I know it always happens this way. I've gotten a lot of new customers in the shop over the last, 4 days because of this, gold still bumping and passing new all-time highs. Silver, more so for silver now that it's rising. People coming in, oh yeah, I got a call from, name a phone company that cold calls people to sell them gold and silver. I don't know. Let's say the Gold Bureau, and sorry to the Gold Bureau if you don't do that, but I think that's a name somebody used. Yeah, I got a call from so-and-so at this place, and they were, really telling me what's going on and that I should buy silver, and they offered to me at this. And I'm like, okay, well, why do you want to buy silver? So there's a lot of people out there that are pushy salespeople that are trying to get people to buy these metals at higher prices. And, I think for those that truly do want to purchase, they're not necessarily buying from somebody calling them. They're going to go to a local coin shop or do their own research and find out about it. But I've seen much more of that. So there is a lot more chatter in the metals market. So there's a lot of people that, I don't want to say they feel like they're pushed into having to buy metal, but they've been, convinced by other people that they need to buy silver. And now they're buying it at a 13 or 12-year high. Not necessarily the best time, but the same thing happened with gold over the last couple of months as it's been touching and passing all-time highs. That excitement gets there and you get new people in. I just wish it wasn't always that way, but there's always a lot of people that buy in at the peak.
That's true.
And that's never going to change.
Do you think people are going to keep buying in at the peak? Like, let's say we see, gold's been hitting all these all-time highs forever, whatever. But let's say silver somehow gets to $50 an ounce. Do you think people are still going to be buying silver? Are people going to be excited about silver at 50? Or this isn't a prediction of spot price, just a sentiment from people coming into your store. Or do you think $50 an ounce is going to be where they're like, hold on a minute. This, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think there?
I think you're going to see both. If we look back to 2011, and I've talked about this, I wasn't in the business yet, but I was in the industry. I was stacking silver when it got to almost $50 an ounce in 2011. My father actually helped out as a volunteer in a coin shop when he wintered in Arizona. And he told me how it was. He said there was a line out the door all day of both people wanting to buy silver at almost $50 per ounce spot price and people selling their silver. So you're going to see excitement on both sides. And that was, inflation adjusted. I don't know what that is, but $50 in 2011, what is that today?
Oh,
that might be $85, $90 silver.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty much, or pretty high rather.
Yeah, so, looking at that, if we get to $50 silver in today's dollar, I don't think that prices as many people out of buying it as it did, in 2011. Because, the $50 bill is the new $20 bill, right?
Yeah.
So it's still a lot of money, but knowing that so many people were buying back at $50 an ounce in 2011, guess what? I was one of them. I don't know if you were, but I was. I think there's going to continually, if we get to 50 in today's world, yeah, there'll still be buyers. It'll be a buyer's market, but there'll be a fair amount that'll take profits and cash out too.
I definitely bought silver in 2011. Anyone wondering? So it is what it is. But this is still exciting. I'm going to ask you one more question because we just talked about the sentiment. A lot of people lining up to sell. I did a video last week where I called shops trying to see if they would buy 10 1,000 ounces of silver from me. Is
Yeah.
that something that most shops can handle? I don't even want to ask you specifically, just in general. Most of the shops I called didn't have a problem with it. What are your thoughts there, being a shop owner yourself?
Yeah, well, I think it really just depends at the moment. If you're expecting to get paid in full today, if you walk in with it, I think there's a lot of shops out there that would struggle with that, especially in today's, market that we're in, with a lot of customers selling. I know other people in this industry. In fact, I've talked about it before. I'm in a dealer group. It's a highly vetted dealer only group through Facebook. There's a little over 1,000 members. We pay to be a part of it, but it's created a large networking group of other dealers you can trust, and we do deals with each other. But we have conversations in there. And there was a post yesterday where one said they're selling about 70% of what they're buying from the public. So they're buying more from the public on a daily basis than they are selling to the public. So you do that long enough, pretty soon, if you can't liquidate or flip over what you're buying quickly, and not everyone can. There's some that are great at it, but there's others that, it takes time and resources, and pretty soon you're going to run low on cash. So you call the shop, hey, will you buy 10,000 Silver Eagles? Some days I would say, sure, no problem. Other days, ooh, well, yeah, we can make it work, but I got to find some other dealers to help out. I would think that's how most dealers would be, but there's some that have, multi-million-dollar revolving bank accounts. And yeah, no problem, I'll write you a check. Not all dealers are like that, myself included. So I could do it today, but give me some notice.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. But yeah, I would guess most, that is a pretty big ask, because I know a lot of dealers. I'm a small time dealer. In Minot, North Dakota, I consider myself pretty small. And I know many others that keep a lesser inventory on hand than me in terms of metal, and a lesser revolving line of credit with the bank, I guess. So that would be tough for most.
That's fair.
Or yeah.
You had said in that dealer group that you had one dealer that said he was only selling 70% of what he's bringing in across the counter. That's kind of opposite of what you said, where you said you're actually selling more than bringing in.
Sure. Yep.
So is he in I don't want to know the name of the shop or where he is, but is he in a different part of the country than you, or is he maybe in a larger or smaller area? Do you know?
There's actually several dealers that echoed that same sentiment. None of them are around me. They're not in the Midwest, I can tell you that much. So, just different parts of the country. They might be in an area where they have, millions of people. And, just for how busy I am and how many dollars I spend buying from the public, boy, if there's only 2-3 coin shops that service a metro area of 2-3 million people, that's a lot of stuff to take in. So, but there again, that's why we have this group. So, they're trying to liquidate to other dealers that can maybe use that product, or ultimately you ship it off to one of the mega wholesalers at, today's lower buyback prices. So it's kind of a tricky deal on how to do that, but you got to keep cash in the business.
Fair.
Otherwise we can't buy your 10,000 Silver Eagles.
Fair enough. Okay. So Josh, last question, and then we're going to get off of here. $35 silver. When? I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make you predict. Guys, I'm just kidding. We don't predict spot price on the channel. I just wanted to try and put Josh in the spot and see how he reacted. Facial expression, it was pretty good, actually. You're like, But no, seriously, guys, Josh, I really appreciate you. He has his own YouTube channel. I'm going to put a link for it down below. Obviously, he has his own shop in Minot, North Dakota. If you're up in that area, definitely go by and give him some business. Josh, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to see what happens, and we will have you back on soon after maybe it does cross 35.
That sounds good. I think we're in for a wild remainder of October and beginning of November. I think prices could go any direction. It's going to be interesting.
It is. We'll see what happens. And if I get that pullback, maybe I'll still pull the trigger on that silver I was going to buy last Thursday. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I hope it works out for you.
Me too. So,
yeah.
All right. Have a good one, man. All right, so I hope you enjoyed our chat with Josh today, and it does seem like silver has pulled back even a little bit more since I started editing this video. So we'll see where it ends up today, the rest of the week, and even in the next month. Do me a favor, if you want to follow along, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, we will have Josh back on the channel in the future. But for now, you can go down and subscribe to his channel, which I will put a link for in the description. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.